Alrighty. I think I've gotten it. Let's see. I can see some, screens here. I can see some viewers. Yeah, looks like we are here. I'm seeing myself on the microphone here. Not seeing anyone. Let's see if I can type. Let me type in. And you should be able to hear this. So if somebody could go give a thumbs up or somebody there, I would love to hear from you guys as we go through this. So let me get started here today. So thank you very much for spending some time with me today. This is my first live stream I've had a chance to be able to do, and I'll give you an idea of the format. What I'm primarily going to be working on is just going through the resumes that have been sent beforehand. I have 4 resumes that people have sent, and even one person sent a job description, which honestly, the next time I do this, I'm probably going to go and actually use that. So, or at least make that my format. But just to give you a little bit of background, I am an engineering manager. I've held a ton of interviews this year, just this year alone. I've been a part of panels in the past and have gone, done a lot with that. And today I kind of want to give you an idea of when somebody actually goes through. Oh, hello, Artem. Thank you for joining. When somebody goes through and gives a resume, like what is that immediate feedback here? So like, again, I don't like to make the resume the be all end all of what is what your job experience should be. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot of experience, there's a lot of connection, there's a lot of stuff that goes on into it. But the resume is an important part to really, your first impression with an employer, your experiences there, and honestly, like the 10 seconds is required to actually get people interested in you, interested in your background, and what have you. So that's going to be kind of the context of the resume review. I'm going to kind of go through these. I'll spend about 10 minutes per resume and really go through and give some time here. And because Artem is already here, I'm actually going to start with that one. So let me go and transition to my other screen here. So Artem was actually kind enough to actually give me the job requirement, which is still, I think, just interesting that a really good way to kind of talk about it. So like when I talk about resumes and I talk about, whether or not a resume is good, it really is within the context of what role you're applying. You can't just say, I'm applying to a job. Is this a good resume? Well, it maybe not. Depends on the certain role. I'm making the assumption that folks here are early career changers. They're people who are trying to make a transition into software development, which means that generally speaking, you're looking at shorter resumes. You're looking for less targeted. There's going to be some project work and experience work. Summary still good, but it's going to be in software. So that's kind of the context. So senior business analyst. Let's kind of go through what matters here. So there's always going to be a preamble when it comes to resumes here. There's a description of the role and details here. Really, when it comes to the resume and whether or not things are matching up, you really want to start with the qualifications. So basic qualifications: bachelor's degree, 1 year of experiences in quantitative analysis, 1 year of experience in qualitative analysis. Master's degree, 2 years of experience in people or workforce analysis, 1 year of experience in consulting, 2 years of quantitative analysis, qualitative analysis, product development experience, economic forecasting. That's interesting. Usually I get more detail out of this, so this requirement's kind of interesting. Also, kind of interesting that they're looking for a senior BA with only 2 years of experience. Usually I doubt business analysts are that different. Usually senior would be 5 years or something like that. So not quite sure what they're going for here, but let's take a look at what the role actually is. So talent assessment is a cross-functional team and business data analysts, data scientists, product managers, and IO psychologists. That's interesting. We build infrastructure that enables organization to assess and then select great talent either through in-house development or that through partnership. As a senior business analyst on IT, you'll be a leading edge of applying analytics to talent in order to build strategies to expand organizational talent. You'll work very closely with talent acquisition partners, data scientists, IO, and use those insights to drive innovative work. Specifics responsibilities included but are not limited to analysis, connect people data to performance data to connect relevant actionable insights, strategic analysis, exercise decision making, leverage emerging technologies. Okay, so here's my concern with this resume in particular, and what's going on here. For this particular role, it's a business analyst, which again is not a terrible thing for somebody who's a career changer specific in technology. That's not a killer. But for mentioning analysis so many times, I'm not seeing one technology related to analysis. I see product development, I see consulting, workforce analytics, qualitative, quantitative, but I'm not seeing anything related to SQL, like data development, like something related to that. So that's interesting that they're not asking for that. So I would definitely say, like, if you're looking for this role, look for, apply to this one just to see what's there. Because again, this quantitative and qualitative analysis is doing a lot of heavy lifting. But let me just make sure I'm not nuts here. We do. Data insights. Data is mentioned 8 times, but never doing there. So that one's interesting. So, okay, so let's open up your resume to actually see here. So this is the resume I was applied to. This is the role. Let's take a look. Yo, hello. I'll get to your resume next. I'll be doing, I'll be looking at this. So senior business analyst there. So I like that business analyst resume at the top here. I assume a name would go here or whatever, but honestly, I would like to see that here. So initial thought looking at this, it looks full. This resume looks very full, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Especially coming out of a boot camp, especially coming out of being a self-taught, either a self-taught developer looking at these roles, you want to look like you got a lot of experience going into it. You want to talk about, or at least you have a lot to say about the experience you do. We're not going to be lying and saying, you have experience that you don't have, but you want to make sure that you actually go and do that. So the fact is, I love seeing lots of this. But the happy response in my brain as the engineer hit. I got to see this. I looked at, looks really good. So let's take a look at what the actual skills look like. Python, Postgres, API, ETL, good. Critical thinking, visual storytelling, self-reliance, written oral communication. I'll have a comment about that in a second, but let's continue here. Data modeling, engineering with SQL. Actually, sorry, let me full screen this. This actually might make it a little bit easier for you guys to see. There we go. So, projects, data modeling with SQL, experience. So, okay, so here's kind of my first lesson here or whatever here. So usually the only reason I would like to see project work at the top of a resume as opposed to the bottom is because there is no relevant experience. But if you take a look here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 experiences, mostly relevant, a lot of good stuff here, and 1 project work to kind of put, at the bottom here. So I would definitely take project work from the top and put it towards the bottom here. Education section looks fine. Data Science Bootcamp Certificate 2020. Bachelor's in Science and Psychology 2014. Lacrosse, not a bad school. And full resume. So, okay, so this is something that was really well done here that you can see. Your engineering managers and managers you're hiring for will notice gaps. Not huge gaps, not small gaps. Like you can see a 1 or 2, few months, off the resume. You can assume it's a job hunt. That doesn't warrant anything. But a bigger gap might. And this one's not too big because, again, you can see 2016 left in 2019, the certificate in 2020. Yeah, that's a gap that you can actually go, explain away. So that's not too bad. And there. So, okay, so that overall, it's kind of like I'm looking at a full resume. I'm engaged. Like the one thing I noticed here is if you see a resume with a lot of white space, that is immediate bad sign. You don't want to do that. You don't want to see that. Not great. So good stuff here. Move the project work down. Now let's actually get into the details of what it is. Data analysis and visualization, teacher assistant and tutor, Trilogy Education, 2U. Guide students across the United States in applying computer science concepts, understanding structure, interpreting compilers, and expanding debugging techniques. Sure. Tailor environment to foster culture of learning for a diverse group of students. Okay, that's not bad. Leverage quantitative, qualitative feedback to improve classwork experience. Okay, that's okay. Okay, so nothing wrong with these sort of things, but notice that again, it's stuff related to teaching assistant tutor. So, okay, I may be seeing why you put this up here, but let's continue down. Data analysis and visualization, foundational data concepts from full stack, including curriculum there. So, Southern Mississippi here. Okay, this would be a mistake, putting this in your experience. Because here's the thing, you definitely had work you did related to that is relevant. Your project work is something you can do and talk about on your resume. It should not go into experience. Because here's the thing, as a hiring manager, I read experience. I read someone going there and I say, hey, this is stuff you've actually done for an employer. That's the sort of thing. That's really the key difference between experience and project work. A project work is something you've done on your own, and you've done it. Not bad, but you know it's project work. Experience says, I built this for somebody else. It's not your education. It's not project work. It is work you did there. This, not bad experience, not bad from a perspective of it shouldn't go on your resume, but also not super relevant for the role. You have data analyst student, you don't want to put that in your experience section. Like that would be a flag to me. This makes me feel like you're trying to fill out the resume more than warrants, you know? What I would say though is a lot of this data analysis and visualization could make your a stronger purpose and stronger project segment. You know, you can be forthcoming there. So comprehensive introduction to web, relational databases, multiple group projects. Okay, here. Multiple group projects. Which projects? What were you doing? How involved were you? What were you making? That's something that could go up here and you could actually fill this out. So what I would say is that you need to remove this section here entirely. If you want to beef up that you did a certificate, that you have education, it going down into the education section, maybe a line here is good. You can talk about your education and how you've had that, but I would put your project work here, and I would put just as much detail you put into this section here. How you tailor environments, how you built up your background, and then show that you've did it here. What you did. Your project section and your experience section should almost look identical. Almost look identical in the way that you operate. That's one big change. So, all right. So dealer liaison, launch best practices roundtable mean to identify opportunities for implementing and drive strategic innovation initiatives. That's almost one buzzword too much. So it started off strong. Launch best practices roundtable means to identify opportunities for improvement and drive strategic innovation initiatives. Okay, but what initiatives? What strengths? You had a best practices roundtable. You led that. I mean, that's a leadership activity. That's something they're going to care about. But as soon as you get to the end, it's kind of like, well, were you just having meetings to have meetings, or did you actually accomplish something? That's something I would add right here, to go into there. I would talk about the output of it. That's something that's really important. People who do well on resumes have really strong outputs in the way that they're going, and they're doing when they're writing these things. So launch best practices roundtable and implemented some change, some issues, something we got better. So led new software pilot, providing coordinated troubleshooting, led team training, presentations, strategic implementations, that's a good one. Develop BBA macro formatting, SBA modeling, project there. That's a good one. Actually, I would lead with this. Because you're trying to move into a technical role. You're trying to look into something that's here. You want to use this to there. So I would say take this, move this up, launch best practices, led new pilot, maybe get one more thing. I usually like to think of 4 items there to go, to discuss. Even though it's not in a completely relevant technology, you are showing more technology. You are showing more details. And particularly here, you're trying to show, at least in this resume in particular, you're trying to show consulting, qualitative analysis, product development. This shows that sort of thing. So honestly, remove this, get this up one, make this final one actually at the top and really go into detail on what you did there. Maybe find something else. Go into the best practices you launch. You're showing leadership. You're showing skills. And I think that's good. That's a good way to show what you're doing. 2014 to 2015. Marketing, public sector client insurance plans, outside of carrier, including request for proposal, spreadsheet for proposal. This is not a bad one either. Handled eligibility audits. Implemented letter template connected to flexibility, spending account invoicing database, reducing processing time. That's another good one. I think that'd be good. Yeah, honestly, this is the only thing that really takes away from what you did here. And honestly, the tutoring is pretty, for the role you're looking for, it's kind of weak. I'm going to be, honest, because here, down here, you're showing how to deal with product, how to deal with audits, how to deal with other experience, you did. It's doing the job of what a business analyst would there, or something you'd like to see. And you got experience. You're clearly showing experience. You ended in 2019. Quite honestly, I would just say, here's how I would fix this. Here's how I would do this. 1, take whatever you did with data analysis, put it in a project. Spend as much time on the project work as you did on dealer liaison, everything else. Just saying what it is. If you only had one project that's really showcase ready, make it only one project. Don't put a bunch of them. If you have only one that really showcases it, put that in there and go, and show that you actually did that. So it's project work. Move that to the bottom. The relevant experience for this role, though, is coming from here. I mean, if you're talking about this role in particular, it's coming from these two down here. Dealer liaison, client services representative. You really you're showing leadership, you're showing processing time, you're showing results oriented. This is not bad. This is actually pretty good. I would take this, make this experience. If you have to mention this, if you want to mention that you are employed, I maybe include it in an other experience section, or even reverse the order and put it at the bottom, because it is the weakest of your experience sections here, resulting here, because you are guiding students. That's really, really useful, but it's not as strong as everything else, particularly for the technology role that you're wanting to go into. So that's where I would stay. So that would put that there. Education is fine. It's there. The skills section up here is, again, not bad. Again, if this were a pure technology role, I would say you do that. Things that this is nothing in this looks like technology right now. And even if it was, it wouldn't be these technologies. Because again, there are positions that you will get overqualified. You'll be told you're overqualified. I had a BA role. I was talking about my Python experience. I was doing that and they were going, wow, wow, wow. Then I hear back and they said, not interested. Like, why the hell? You're overqualified. If you're looking for a business analyst, don't be overqualified. Don't look like you're overqualified. I would take these Python skills and almost put it at, technical background, maybe there, and emphasize the qualitative side of it. Like, Tableau, that should go in the front. VBA, that should go in the front. SQL. Yeah, guess what? For a BA, SQL, it would be considered technical. I mean, again, that's the way of it. So I would consider reordering this to go better. Critical thinking, visual storytelling, self-reliance. Get rid of self-reliance. That's not a thing that they would say. I would hope you be self-reliant. Fluent in Russian. That's cool. I would think that's cool. Intermediate Spanish. Highly coachable. Yeah, some of these terms are just not good. Highly coachable, thought leader. Again, if you're putting it in the skills section, you need to be able to demonstrate it. Good communication, good speaking, good visual storytelling I like. Critical thinking, again, it's a little bit looser than I'd like. But then definitely written and oral communication. Project management will go into the skill. Leadership, leading teams, cross-domain communication, that sort of thing. Some of these were there. So definitely rewrite this section. I like the skills section. I would put this here and I would reorder this list just to talk about your technical competencies. And yeah, I would say get these for this BA role, for this one in particular, and for this BA resume, put these two up to the top. Remove this teaching section if you can. And if you need to add it to the bottom of the list. Who cares if it's out of order? It's not relevant, for what you're doing. And you may put other experience. And really just dive into this. Data analysis, visual, students, again, not really relevant for what you're doing. Put the project work in this section here. But overall, I mean, that's the thing. It looks nice. It gets details, and we're going in the right direction. So, Artem, thank you very much. I hope that was helpful. If you have anything, message me, give me a thumbs up, or if you have questions, put it in the thread there, and I'll be happy to go through it. Oh, yeah, I'm reading the thread as we go on. So we have a few viewers. I'm going to be, reading this if you have questions and details. So if you want to be interactive, that's how I'm interacting with you. But let's go on and continue. So, let's go through. So, I do not have a resume here to go in this one, go with this one. Or a job description, but I think we'll make it useful regardless. So let's go and talk about this resume. So what is he developing for? Let's go through. Let's zoom in. Not now. Oh, how do I zoom in? Here we go. Let me take a breath here. Alrighty. Okay, the first thing that bugs me about the resume, it's visually very appealing. And honestly, I never thought I would have said this. This actually helps. Like, I'm shocked I'm saying this because I used to think that this was kind of corny. But like when I was hiring somebody out in in India recently, it caught my attention when they used this. They had to have the resume to back it up. It's not a game changer, but it's not bad. Not, doing all right. Full stack developer, looks clean. I like this section here. I like to do that. You have project work, hobbies, Magic the Gathering. Oh, very cool. I just got done talking with a developer who was talking about how he used Magic the Gathering to fix his to learn programming actually, and how he used that framework there. So yeah, I kind of like I like a hobby section. I'm very personable though, to go through. Here's the big issue I have. It's not very dense. So let me go and show you the difference here between one that's dense here. Look at how little white space is on here, in the section. There's a little bit here, but there's just a lot of dense. And that's something you like to see. I love seeing density in resumes. That's not bad. Versus here, look how much white space is. The font is quite big in the direction that they're. I mean, let's go and take a look at this, like I'd be looking at a sheet of paper. Yeah, even still, it doesn't look very dense. You have a good, okay, there. You here, so you have there, and then you have this 2-column thing going on near the center where you have a lot of space going in here. The net effect, and again, the sentences are quite short, between the big font and the net effect is that I don't think you have a lot of experience. It's my gut reaction looking at a resume there and doing that. So I would say, I don't think you have to tweak the format majorly. Like I wouldn't restart. It's very clean and going there, but I would say remove the 2 columns in the center. I don't think it's really helping you. Shrink down the font size. Definitely shrink down the font size a little bit and expand it out. So, okay, let's get into the meat of what I'm actually looking at here. I am a full stack web developer who relies on a passion for learning, empathy, and effective communication to deliver great results. Okay, my short-term objectives are improve programming and logic skills, to know the master all technologies, to find a job whose company mission align with mine. All right, I would definitely recommend rewriting this summary section, because you're writing this like it's a LinkedIn profile thing where you're just talking to a general audience, in the direction you're going. And like I said, there's only one part of this that actually comes off as, what am I providing to you? Remember, the purpose of your resume is to get that first interview. You're talking to somebody, really. You're using it to get a job. And what you need to be saying to them is, I have value. I'm worth speaking to because I have this value. You're selling value to these people. So I'm a full stack web developer who relies on a passion for learning, empathy there. So the only part that really talks to me and saying, what are you and what do you provide me, is here. Everything else it reads very me. I'm here to improve my programming skills. I'm improving my master of technology. I'm looking to align with a company with good missions and values there. But what are you providing that other individual? So I'm not even sure if I read this. So let's read this section real quick here. Apologize, actually, Artem, I didn't read this part of it. I stepped right into the good stuff. Enthusiastic analysts with background in industrial organizational psychology, including advanced research method, graduate top my class, fast-paced coding curriculum, back analysis, results-oriented, internally motivated, exceptionally detail-focused, repeatedly proven top performer. So, okay, so there it's boasting. It's talking about what his experience is and what's going down there, but it's also why I would be interested in it. It's not like it's about him, but it's also like, what do you get out of me, So I like that resume section, summary section. But here it's all about you. So one, rewrite the resume section to be about why are you valuable? What is valuable about your experience? What is valuable about the details you provide to anyone who wants to go to you? Like, what type of full stack developer are you? What type of results do you want to bring? That sort of thing. I'd read up on that and start that. So education, again, part of these sections need to be reversed. Stack. Because again, we're talking about what is my experience and what is my value to you. Education is important, right? It shows that. But like, again, you see it at the bottom because especially as you start applying to jobs, you spend less and less time focusing on your actual resume background and more time your education, and more time on what you actually went and doing there. So I like that. So if I had to flip this, education should go at the bottom. Once you fix the formatting, it should be the bottom thing there. You should just say web developer full time, 2021, intensive boot camp, what you learned. A little detail is not bad. I don't think that's bad. I think this could go in your skills section. Yeah, and you already did put in your skills section, so you're kind of repeating yourself there. So just saying you have you've done that. You've done executive MBA. That's fantastic. You have a background in computer engineering. That's fantastic. So I'm seeing a lot of good stuff. Oh, hi, Morgan. Thanks for joining. Resume should be in third person, LinkedIn profile first person. Thank you for the detail there. And welcome. Yeah. So, at least, what I'm seeing here, I would definitely put that at the bottom. Good experience there, do that, but it's not prominent. So front end, you put in the stack there. That's the thing. Like the stack is very limited on what I'm seeing and what you're doing. Again, you have, good details, kind of on the side, and you have a lot of detail in here, but I'm not seeing, what front end technology is there. It looks very generic is kind of what I'm seeing. You have a lot of technologies that you could use that you're using React, but like the sort of thing that you'll see, like, I'll show you what I mean here. Let's go into, oh, that's not the right resume. Sorry guys, going off script here. All right. Hop into my LinkedIn real quick. Jobs. Full stack developer. Let's go into that. So let's see how they actually talk about their resume. So senior full stack developer. Great. What are the skills that they say here? Developer front end, React, Vue.js, Angular, development experience in one of the backend frameworks, Python, Java there. Willingness to understand data and analyze in SQL. Some experiences working on JVM, experience in troubleshooting CI/CD. Notice they have the top level stuff you're expecting. They're talking about that. Python, Rails, React, but then there's these supplemental technologies that get kind of thrown in there. Z Shell, CI/CD, experience with the JVM stacks, foundational skills. The best skill sets that I've seen there, again, making you interesting enough that you want to actually go through and, I want to talk to you, is having those long skills. Like I like seeing stuff that kind of goes on because, again, you have the core technology, but then there's additional technologies that get added on top of that you go through. So I think that, again, what this is saying to me is it's a little bit of a lack of, it looks like you have a lack of experience, when in fact, I know there's more beyond that for what you do. And I think reading through those resumes, you'll start to see what other technologies are there. So let me actually get into the meat and bones of what you've done. So you're a gastroeconomic entrepreneur. So creating my own business, following a plan that is, that is definitely encouraging. But again, not quite what you're looking for a full stack developer. Again, I think it's worth adding in, but not as the first thing. Teacher has a wide experience. I taught entire courses there. Customer support for lead technology, order issues there. So because you do not have, if you're applying to a full stack development position, because you are without that sort of long-term experience with because you don't have that, you need to rely on something else to show that you have experience working at working on stuff. So what I would say is that I think this professional experience is, again, it helps tell your story about who you are, what you do, which I think is interesting. You're trying to get to the point where you're doing that. So I would say, like, I'm looking at your education again. Where are my eyes drawn? This section is done real well. It's beautiful. But then you have all this over here. Okay, let's click on one of these. Hold on. See what this project looks like. Okay, so you've worked on this relatively recently, which is encouraging to see. Because of the image, built with this, installation, run MPI. It's a group project, but you're one of the top contributors on, or you're listed as the top contributor, at least over here. I'm not sure if GitHub is actually, how this works. So let's see. Can I go to where's your contributors tab? Insights. Okay, so it hasn't been worked on recently, but let's take a look at the last month. Can we see activity? 5 pull requests. Yeah, you're doing pull requests here. You've actually cared about this. So, okay, so you're actually doing stuff here. You're actually showing that you have activity here. So that's nice in the direction you're going. You have tools. You have a README. That's not bad. That's not that bad in the direction. So, okay, so here's something that's actually quite strong. You have a number of different projects you've kind of shown over here, or maybe it's just one project there. I think you have to include that, because your experience doesn't show what you do. It shows leadership potential, but it does not show that, but this does. I definitely think that you need to include this project work over here. And you need to write that experience down as, here's what I actually, what I'm doing, what I've done as part of the project, as part of the boot camp. I led the team, I deployed it. There's a functional app, and I would make damn sure that if this, that this link does not die. So unfortunately, I'm having trouble clicking it. So I guess that's kind of a weakness of the format here. So let me stop that. So I would definitely make it easy for people to click that link, if they're there. Easy to see and easy to click. So I would say have your project work on here, shrink the entire size of the format, put project work at the top just because your professional experience isn't there. You have some lines here. Like I like the 4 lines per experience. That's usually what I think is a good amount. You have customer service background that you're doing today. You have an entrepreneurial venture that you're doing that tells that. I like that. And I would maybe not include some of the other stuff here. Like, again, you only worked this from October to December. It's not super relevant for full stack. Not really worth including, I don't think, unless you think it is. You may want to rewrite this. So I would say put the project work at the top, talk about your entrepreneurial experience, and then really talk about what you did, in your summary. Why somebody should take a chance. Again, what's going to make somebody think I should really talk to you? You got something interesting and I like your background. Why don't I give you some exposure, because I think you have something to provide there. And you do that. Now, I think that if you were to go into a different discipline, you might have a different mixture of things here. But that's what I think. And just working on the details of, and I think this is important too, working on the details of what you created. Like, again, 7 lines or so, really 7 words or 10 words, however many that is, really doesn't have a lot, versus like something longer would have more detail, to give that. It really tells a story of what was the result you were going for. What was the output? How were you creating something, something useful? So, for the organization, what you were doing, and really for this project, being able to showcase that. Those are my thoughts. I would say I'm not against this format. It looks nice. But I would say, shrink the format, make it denser, make it information to get through that, and really emphasize that project experience. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts or, anything else you'd like me to dive into or any more questions there. Because, that's the thing. The best part of your resume is over here, which visually, I missed that it was here, to start. So definitely something worth considering. I like that. So, Yoel, thank you very much. Let's go to the next resume here. So, got a resume from Ryan here. I'm not sure if he's on the call, but let's open that up and go through here. So, okay, just going through this one again. I kind of like the style of it. It's kind of dense, where it's a little bit more visually interesting, but it has it. So, again, I like the note that Morgan said here. I'm a software engineer transitioning from digital marketing to experiences. Third person versus first person. That's a nice rule of thumb. Managing enterprise PPC accounts taught me how to work effectively under strict targets and key in our user perspective. As an adaptive developer, I've been able to quickly learn new technologies and build a variety of projects on all layers of the stack. What type of engineer is my first question. Because just because you're in software, you have a vertical, so you're in digital engineering, you're in digital marketing. And it's clear that it's more about the vertical. But when I see roles being hired for, there are some times that it's vertical based. Like the vertical is important, like in healthcare, for example. But if you're trying to apply for a job, I would definitely, you need to pick a lane, basically. Front end developer, back end developer, there. Just because you can do all of it doesn't mean that that's what you're applying to. I mean, React, that's the thing. Like, software engineer could be anything. But really there. And given what I'm seeing here, I'm starting to see Node React full stack. You're a full stack developer. Good. Let's take a look at this. I'm just kind of sitting back and kind of taking it in. Again, same kind of concern here, where the work experience, Parsity was put as work experience as opposed to education. And it would definitely qualify. It's definitely education in the way that it's operating. You're definitely, that's not experience that you do that. Now you have stuff within that looks like experience, like project work, for example. You definitely have that, something to rely on there. But you're talking about that. So yeah, you did the learning there. Yeah, that would go at the bottom. That's the part here. And again, you already have, I mean, that's the thing. You kind of have it both here. You have Varsity School, you have a BA in economics, which again, damn useful. But yeah, I don't think you need to double that up. And even still, what you have here is quite useful. So yeah, I mean, you might want to consider taking this out and putting it at the bottom, but honestly, I don't think that's the biggest thing to work on here. Account manager, paid search accounts. So, okay, so let's talk about what you've actually done. So work experience projects. Yeah, that's a little confusing because you have work experience and then you have projects, and then it seems to go down to work experience then at the, at the bottom. So the first thing I would do is I'd separate out the work experience and the project work. Project work should definitely go at the bottom, but I don't think you should. I'm not a fan of putting it in a different format, particularly if you're actually going in and showing it as experience. You should talk about the project work as if you have results the same way as anyone else. Like, that it's project work. It was, personal experience and it was something else you did, but you really want to go and show that you actually have, you actually did something, you accomplished something. So like, for example, here, the actual experience: manage paid search accounts for a portfolio of largest client companies, overseeing more than 1.4 million in monthly spend. So like I said, okay, there's a way that I think that you can write that would come off as, stronger, but we'll hold off to that for a second. I think that if you're talking about this work up here that you clearly have a lot of experience with, you should talk about the project work kind of the same way. You should put this up as game project, make that the thing, say you did it as part of project shift, whatever. That'll be helpful. So move project work to the bottom. Then let's talk about the actual experience. Remove this because if I see this in a resume, I'm going to think you don't have a lot of experience. You're filling out experience. I want to see your actual experience, your actual stuff you've actually did, something you did work for others. So let's take your first bit. So project work near the bottom. And then let's talk. Manage paid search account for a portfolio of largest company clients, overseeing more than 1.4 million. Again, I'd like to see a result there. I think you have a result. I think Ryan, I think we talked about this, that you did. It's like, what's the result that you got there? Particularly if you're going into full stack, like, did you use any programming concepts related to it? Over here, it doesn't seem like it is. Like I said, you assisted a dev team and provides to detect anomalous performance, saving over 4 hours per case. That's a good result. I don't know what assisted dev team is though, because again, if you're going to be putting as your as experience for a full stack position or a software engineering position, I want to know how you assisted. Because even if you were just like a product owner, for example, or maybe you did that, I want to know how, because assisted could mean a lot of things. Like, did you just sit by and watch? Did you go and grab them coffee? Did you write the program yourself? Like, what actually happened? You need to make it sound like your accomplishment out there. So I would definitely rewrite that. Maintain client relationships through quarterly in-person visit. That's good. And weekly calls detailing account performance there. So you manage the client relationships. That's a really good sign. That's something that you want to put on there and make it happen. So not bad. So senior analyst, spearhead incorporating regression analysis into client service team workflow through company representation. Great. Again, I think... Again, I'm not sure if there's a result you could have there, but again, that's good experience. Trained 6 cohorts of new hires through an onboarding mentorship program and led dozens of individual shadowing sessions. Again, not bad. I'd like to see a little bit more in the direction. Like, again, 1 page is about as much as you can take. Is for somebody in a new position, you don't want to go much further than that unless it's warranted, and I don't think it's warranted in this case. But you have 3 roles here that do some good work. Again, with the project work, that's what's going to need to do the bulk of the heavy lifting. If you're watching the skills section, and the project work is going to show your development. But you're going to want to showcase your experience, what you actually have going on, beyond that. So like, what's your back end, things. So like, I would even say here, you have front end, back end, and general skills. So a lot of space not being used effectively over here. Like I said, if you want to keep it on the left side, I would almost, instead of making these one line individually, I would start stacking them up over each other so you can fit more in, because you have front end technologies, back end technologies. some general programming principles. I'd also include your soft skills. That's really relevant, particularly if you're going for a front-end development skill. You mentored people. That's big. That's big. Remember, I'm hiring you for a team. I'm not hiring you just for a role. I'm hiring you for a team. If you show that you have shadowing, that you've done cohorts, that you've managed these things, that's really awesome. Because it means that if you have the technology background, I can bring you in and you can start training other people after I've trained you. People underestimate how important mentorship is to this. It's something I look for in people, somebody willing to do that. So, great experience. Tell that you've done mentorship. Say that you've done training, that you've onboarded people, that you've added these, technical skills. So, oral communication, speeches, whatever it might be. Good stuff there. So, I would say, yeah, these three here, maybe, again, like, I'm not sure if what's the difference between a senior analyst. I know there's a difference between an account manager and a senior analyst. It seems like these were so close together. Made me think a lot. I change and try again. Awesome. Yo, I'm really glad that was helpful. So, Ryan, what I would say here is combine these two sections to save some space. They're really not two separate jobs. I mean, I know probably on paper there are, but it's 2 years of experience, May 26th, December. You made a transition. They're kind of looking similar. So I would say you did good work here. You have good results. I'd like to see a little bit more results. I like this 4 hours per case. I'd like to see a little bit more output oriented. But I think these two could be combined. Account manager here, roll it up to the top and what you did there and really hammer in the leadership. Hammer in that's what you're doing. But then as you say what you're doing, like, I don't like being too detailed about the format. If you like this over here, I'm not going to force you to change other than adding the soft skill section. What I will say though is that, again, we're not reviewing your resume for very long. My eye wants to go from here, up here, down here, and here. And remember, if you say I'm a software developer and I'm a front-end engineer and I'm seeing nothing but other analysis, I'm going to get confused. I'm going to see what's there. To hijack that, you might want to consider removing this column here entirely, making this one column and putting the skills at the very top and just putting some of that experience. If you really want to do it and you really want to hijack it, you may want to put the project work on top. I think that might be warranted. I've seen people do that. And again, it signals to me, oh, you're a boot camper, you don't have that experience. But at the same time, it's honest. So I'm not against that. So I was saying put the project work at the bottom. I'd say put it at the top. Don't call it experience. Call it project work. That's the right way to go about it. I would then, hijack the skills, maybe put it up there. Let's look at it. Full stack Kanban workflow. I haven't even reviewed it yet. Let me do that. Full stack Kanban style workflow application allowing users to create task on board move. Served as a designer on the team of 6, creating a detailed mockup, collaborate in agile methodology, use React Node. Okay, that concerns me. That may have been a big contribution, but you're applying as a full stack developer. You being a designer, especially with your other experience, you have fantastic soft skills. You have great business analysis skills. I'm concerned you're not technical enough. Because here's the thing, everything else you're doing here, you need to hammer in that development. That's what you got to do at this point. Because here's the thing, I'm hearing soft skills galore down here. I'm hearing someone who's worked in an office, worked in a business, and it's there. Great. But I need to see full stack development. And here, the first thing you said is you're a designer. Bad. I would say do full stack development, talk about your technical accomplishment. Or if it's not that project that you had technical and you want to do something else, use that instead. Have it be 3 to 4 lines, just like you have down here, and hammer down what you did. What did you deliver? What did you do? What did you code? How did you go about it? I would not even mention. You want to look technical. Because if you don't say those things, again, I'm seeing skills, but I'm not seeing experience of skills. If I were hiring for a full stack position and I saw this resume, that's the point at which it would have become a no. I'm seeing here, I've seen served as designer. Why? Why didn't you serve as developer? Why didn't you as back-end expert, as database engineer, whatever, optimized app for mobile devices. Again, what I want to hear is I developed a solution from the ground up. That's what I want to see. And that's for people coming out of boot camps. What it's really important. You don't have the background, but your project's son of a bitch. You did more with that experience than anyone else possibly could have. And you did good work. So that's what I would say is really there. So yeah, again, I don't think this section is inherently bad, but I got to say, you got to build up that project work and you got to show your technical colors. If you don't do that, that's going to be a bad situation and you're not going to get a lot there. Again, you do not lack soft skills. So collaborate on agile methodology and daily stand-ups, you need to be showing your details. So that's the part that I would say really, really get into. Paid search analyst, senior, great soft skills, put it below the project work and really hammer it down. You have to rewrite that section. Same thing here. Everything else kind of goes down. Skills, education, beautiful. Like those sections. Even like the way you presented that. Is that Carolina Blue? I think that's Carolina Blue. Or it's close. Okay, cool. All right, I'm from UNC, by the way, so that's why I got excited. All right. I believe here we did Artem, did Yol, we did all right, now we got Nushin. I am sorry if I mispronounce your name. Alrighty, we've actually talked quite a bit about this, so we actually, I'm excited to talk about this one. So, okay, so again, I really don't like being the person to talk about formatting, but this one's necessary here. It's the white space. What it says is quite good. Personal details. Detail-oriented. Excuse me. Let me get some water here, actually. So, okay, before I dive into the specifics, let me just kind of read this in. Interesting. Good background. Experiences at the bottom. And good experience. Why did you bury that here? Okay. So, one, I think this resume in particular needs a new format. It's got a lot of awkward white space. It's 2 pages when it really could just be 1. The experience is relevant. Hugely relevant. The product design process for Fortune 500. Who, when, how? Give me details. Improved UI component. Who, when, how? That's great. Good stuff. You did it as a freelancer. You've been doing it since, wow. Okay. So that's where I would say it's only been a month. Yeah, that's a little bit of a red flag. Because how much work could you have really done in a month or so, with that project in what you've done? So unless you give specific details, really specific details, that's going to be a flag. So, all right, let me start from the top. Need a new format that can fit within 1 page. Size is fine. Like the depth here or the density is pretty good. There's some like white space issues, but not too bad. A lot of education, good education. 1996, 2008 doesn't seem, again, you seem very learned, like you've had a lot, but I don't see any concerns here. Past experience is really nice. 6 years experience of human-centered design, solving problems, reduced operational costs by 30%. How? It would be my question there. Created comfort and excellent experience for patients with special needs. Created effective communication with patient caregiver. I think that could be better. Increase client base. So unless this is a medical job that you're going for in this, I'm not sure if this would be something that I would spend a ton of time. I'm not going to say not mentioning, because again, you need to mention this experience. It shows great soft skills. You're an owner of your own business. You've had to operate that. So you're showing ownership in spades. Really good stuff. Product design process, that's pretty good, but there's that issue. So yeah, format is the first thing that would bug me here. Wouldn't stop me from reading it though. That's another point here. If you sent me that, I've read so many crappily formatted resumes that this doesn't even bug me. And you'll be amazed. I used to be a recruiter, like when I write in college, I had to read thousands of resumes, and you get used to shitty resumes easily, early. But maybe I don't know if that's because of my experience or otherwise, otherwhere. Good technical. Like again, I'm not in UX, but this seems it's a good stack. Jira, Office Suite. Yeah, for a UX designer, maybe that's important. Adobe, Mira, Figma. Not bad. Not bad UX in personal. I think that makes sense of the skills. Again, it's taking up a ton of real estate, though. You got your tiny little summary by comparison, ton of white space. So this here, and actually, actually, I didn't even consider this. You're a UX designer, and you're sending this resume. One thing I've noticed, software developers have really shitty resumes. They can get away with it though, because they're in software development. UX designers almost always have really well designed. The design of this resume showcases their design capabilities and what they're doing. So in that particular case, this definitely needs to be redone to view that. I mean, here, let's see. Let me show you what I mean. I mean, you see this like just beautifully designed detail, like that sort of thing. Being more visual with it makes a lot more sense. You don't have to do it. You can get a basic design for this sort of thing. You don't have to go in that direction, but it has to look good. Yeah. Hello, Brandon. Nice to see you. Yeah, that's what I just noticed. So that's the thing. Again, I'm not of the camp that it needs to be there, but it needs to be, the alignment needs to be correct, the white space. This would be a red flag, what I've seen, and where I've gone. So that's what I would say. So design aside, I don't think the technical UX personal is too bad. I think that's good skill. So let's see what project work you've done. Well, actually here, let's click it. Okay, you go to Figma. That's good. Takes a second to load. My coffee break. Oh, is it being slow? Come on, buddy, you got it. You can load Figma. Oh, that is looking nice. Oh, look at that. Customer design. Soup, butternut squash, recommended. Add celery, vegetarian. I've never used Figma before, so I did that. Wow. Wow, that's actually really slick looking. Let me go back to your resume here. Yeah, I really like that. I looked that. Cardamom skills. So these are personal products. So that's the thing. Like again, I'm not as familiar with the nomenclature of the UX UI designer, but one thing that I do see is like I say project work because I'm in software, but then there's like portfolios. That seems like a really excellent portfolio project, and that's something I would like attach. That you have this. I don't want to get too deep into this. All donations welcome. The first one definitely looked a little bit better. There's a little bit blockiness here. But again, it's a UX design. So we can go back. So nursing home. Yeah, especially if you're trying to showcase your growth. That's definitely jumping from this to this would be just awesome. Redesign of a website here. NPO design. Okay, then I guess I got to get a question here or a detail. These look really specific. Was this work you did, or was this, are these personal projects? Oh, did I just click on that one? No. Okay. Yeah. So this is the same link twice here. So it seems like there's another one here. So that needs to be fixed. I'm not gonna get too into detail here. There's some wonky design, like this kind of looks, up top. Not too bad. Okay, clearly you weren't working for the Department of Homeland Security. So you did some designs. You have some good stuff there. It's interesting, but it feels like, again, a portfolio. It doesn't feel like it's project work. Because again, the real element there is, what you actually showcase and what you did there. I would look at the specifics of the UX designer industry to say what it actually looks like and what's the right way to include that. But I think that if you had a portfolio, that's something that you would include in with your package that you did, because that's nice, especially this one. This is slick. I mean, let me open that up again. I mean, I'll open it up later. Really, really nice looking. Plus, you show a deep well of experience on this side of it. Going through. I think that's quite good. This is the part that I think you need to work on here. This relevant experience. Because again, you went from a boot camp, you graduated, you started doing this kind of freelance work in your side. And I think we actually talked about this, where you actually had a startup you were interested in or some group that you were working with. I would not include that section until it was actually a done deal. Because again, you have some stuff here. And if you actually do have experience, again, I would almost display it like project work, like what you're doing, what you've had there. So I would say right now, there's good stuff here. If I saw again, I've never hired a UX designer in that experience, but at least I know in the UX teams here, this would be a red flag that this was not formatted correctly or nicely. You have, summary. Digital and visual UX designer with a history of being creative and detail-oriented, valuing dedication to innovation and collaboration with a cross-functional and professional team. Okay, a little bit too wordy there. Again, a little bit one buzzword too many is almost it. Again, this is a resume, so a little bit is expected in the direction you're going. It's not too bad, but I would expect a little bit more. It's like, okay, digital and visual UX designer with a again, you say history of being creative. You have a history as a dental hygienist. You have a medical history, or at least, I'm not sure what the right way to say that is, but that's an interesting cross promotion. So let's just Google it real quick here. UX designer, dentist. Let's see what happens. Okay, so let me go back into LinkedIn. Here we go. LinkedIn. Boop, boop. Let's see if we have UX in dentistry, shall we? UX dentist. See if I can type right. Look, here's a healthcare startup. Not many, but they exist. Healthcare startup pioneering the field of robotics and oral surgery. They're using a BS in design, using interface. That's an interesting position. Senior UX designer, human design. So let's do UX healthcare. Healthcare UX design, UX designer, healthcare. Yeah, honestly, that's where I would be going here. Because again, it's a weird mix. Remote lead, UX design, healthcare. Because again, you don't fit the role 100%. But you do have a niche here, and you definitely here. You have an app, a skilled nursing home. Quite honestly, if these are your own projects, I would go full blown. How would you redesign a nursing application, a a school, a whatever? I said you did this. I would almost keep iterating off of this and get something that you're really proud of that you can actually go through and do. I would say your experience. You have good project work. If this experience is real and it's just very shallowly displayed, I would go and actually say what that experience is. If you can't name names, name enough detail to know that it's actually real. Because right now it just kind of reads that Fortune 500. That could mean anything. I would consider writing 2 versions of this resume. One of them specific to healthcare. One of them specific to just UX design. Like being a UX designer and being a UX designer in healthcare, because I think that's going to actually differentiate you from the market and get you some, get people to help look at this. So I think this details here. I think those soft skills, could definitely go into here in this section. I would redesign the section and go through. But yeah, honestly, I think there's more here than it's being displayed. It's not being displayed correctly, especially for UX design. But there's enough here that I think you actually have a lot you can do. So I think this is, yeah, dental hygienist. Yep, I think there's enough to work with here. I would say rewrite the summary, and I would write two, one of them just on UX, one of them based specifically on it being in the healthcare industry. Having industry curiosity, there. Again, I think being, like I said, I've seen summaries there where it's not terrible, but I think it's like, why should I hire you is really the thing. And you're really talking about the value you provide. Relentless pursuer of excellence and ageless students. Again, it almost feels like too, like, salesman-y and, throwing up, not necessarily buzzwords, but just a little bit too, on the nose there that you're doing that. Like, you need to demonstrate those things in the resume. And I don't think that's been done well enough here for, this below. So I think that provides detail. So I hope that's able to help you. So, alrighty. So I think that's all the resumes I have gotten today. I thought at least this would be helpful to go through and think, how exactly am I thinking through this? How exactly do engineering managers kind of talk about these things and what they help? There are a lot of fantastic resources to go and help with these, with this sort of these, I guess it's saying help with this process. I think definitely having a portfolio and a good set of projects there would be, incredibly valuable to be able to help, new folks, especially new folks going this, really have some structure there. But I guess that's what I would say. I mean, overall, the lesson is you want it to look dense. Format should be correct for the industry that you're applying to. Clickable links is useful. Again, if I see your resume and I want to see a link, I want to actually go off to do it. And definitely understanding where to place that project work and experience is definitely very useful. So anyway, folks, thank you very much for being here for my first live stream. I appreciate this. I will do my best to try to get this actually posted out there and get other folks to actually be able to see this, especially those who may have missed it today. So anywho, thank you very much.